The idea of developing a spiritual life can be intimidating, daunting, but it needn't be. People often ask how they can get started. So here are some thoughts. A tree with strong roots can weather any storm. We all experience storms in our lives. It is not a question of whether or not we will experience another storm. That's not the question, but rather, when will the next storm get here? When will the next storm be approaching? And when the storm arrives, it is too late for a tree to sink roots. When the storm arrives, it either has the roots or it doesn't. I have been battered around in the storms of life in both scenarios. For some of the storms, I was caught off guard and unprepared, and those storms damaged me significantly. But I have also encountered storms at times in my life when I was firmly committed to the daily routines of the spiritual life. These storms did nowhere near as much damage. The storms you have already experienced in your life have passed. You can do nothing to prepare for them or to change them. You may still be picking up the wreckage that those storms unleashed in your life. There will be more storms in your life. I don't know what and I don't know when, but they will come, for they are part of every person's experience of life. So begin to prepare today for the coming storms. Begin to develop deep roots by fostering a rich inner life. Foster a rich inner life by committing yourself to a daily routine of prayer and reflection. I recommend 3 practices to ground your daily routines of prayer and reflection. Number 1, the prayer process. If you're not familiar with it, it's explained in detail in the book I Heard God Laugh and in the video series that accompanies it. The free video series is available by clicking in the description below. Number 2, daily journaling. Just write down whatever comes to your mind for a few minutes each day. Date your entries so you can come back to them over time and see how far you have come and how much you have grown. And number 3, spiritual reading, because books change our lives, because we become the books we read. Why does it matter? Why is it important for each of us to establish a daily routine of prayer and reflection? When Jesus was on the cross, he cried out, "I thirst." In response to his desperate plea, the soldiers gave him wine mixed with gall. This bitter combination would have only increased his dehydration and added to his misery. I meet people every day who are crying out, "I thirst," and the world gives them wine mixed with gall, which only increases their dehydration and adds to their misery. We are each thirsty in our own ways today. You know your thirst, and I know mine. Your thirst may be different next week than it is today, and it may be the same. But the reality is, our souls are thirsty, and we cannot satisfy a spiritual thirst with a worldly potion. Dig the well before you get thirsty. I chose this title for a workbook I wrote many years ago because our spiritual thirst is real and isn't going away. Every day we are blessed to be on this earth. We will have a need to drink the living waters that God wants to freely give us. But we have to dig the well. How? By developing a daily practice of prayer and reflection. That's how we dig the well. That's how we gain access to the living water that Jesus spoke about. Most people in our culture today are severely spiritually dehydrated. You may be in that place yourself. If you are, do not be discouraged. But don't be a victim either. Start digging your well today. Find a quiet place, sit with God, and pour your heart out to Him. He will comfort you in your afflictions and afflict you in your comfort. He will encourage you and challenge you, but most of all, He will love you. And His love and acceptance will hydrate your soul like never before. If you found this video helpful, click here to discover the prayer process and take the first step to developing a rich inner life.